Hawkins is a really unique map because it is loaded with filler pallets. The problem is, a lot of people don't know how to use them. I recently came under fire for uploading a clip of me on this map showing how to use some of these pallets. However, a lot of people don't think I know what I'm talking about. They think that I'm crazy, that I'm a pre-dropper, and that I'm wasting resources for my teammates. But I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to use these pallets to dominate Chase as Survivor. So let's get into it. A lot of people don't understand how to play the filler pallets that exist outside of some of these rooms. I'm going to try and find you like a really good example. I think this one I like the most. And there's like open doors, right? Yeah, perfect. So this pallet is a decent example of a pallet that if you have a lot of distance on a killer, it's almost worth it to drop it early. So if there's a killer over there, and specifically like I was playing against a Wesker, whether he's charging his power up or not, even if I don't know that there's a pallet in here, I know that there are going to be pallets in these inside rooms. As you can see, every inside room has pallets that spawn, right? Even if you don't know the makeup of it, like I was saying, I had pre-dropped an inside pallet and threw one of these kind of early. But in my opinion, a lot of these filler pallets that exist on the outside of these rooms, you almost never want to play them. And what I mean by that is you almost never want to give the killer a chance to take control of this pallet when it's up, or to kind of double back and do a 50-50, because some of these filler pallets, you also can't see the killer, right? Like this has really, really tall structures, so you can't see what the killer's doing if they're over here moving back and forth. Every filler pallet, anytime you pretty much give it to the killer, so if you let them come over here and push you away from it, or you choose to run away from it, then you're trying to like what, play this outside. All it takes is like a little double back from them and a little bit of like a split second of hesitation from you, where you guess wrong, you don't have time to react, because if he comes out over here, then I'm dead. Kage, come over here. Come over here. I need you now. I'll give him the pallet, and I'll show you how easy it is probably for him to M1 me. Like, let's say I'm looping. I give him control of the pallet. I go over here. Now, I can't see him, right? I'm kind of... Okay. Okay, I still got sprint burst. Okay, yep. Okay, run back. Oh, and I'm already hit. Just like that. Because he made it look like he wanted to run to the pallet, which I'm always going to want to try and mirror his movement and run like 50-50. So let's try it again. I'll try and be a little bit more cautious. Yeah. Doubling back. Okay, give him the pallet. Looking for his stain through the forklift. And then I got shit on through the pallet. No bloodlust needed. That's the problem with a lot of these filler pallets. The minute you give the killer control of the pallet, they can really dictate how easy it is for you to get hit through them. Okay? Now, if I can see the killer the entire time, great. There's a chance I don't really get mind gamed at all. However, sometimes the sides are still so short that all they need for you to do, as I said, is like have a moment of like you slipping up to get a hit through it. Okay, you can go back to your corner. Thank you. So what I like to do, if a killer is approaching from a distance, right? And like if they try to cut me off running inside, that's fine. You can go over there. You can go over there. I will pre-drop this, okay? And then that way, now I have a really good vision of which way they're going to path. My pathing around these rooms is going to be really short because I can vault the pallet. If a killer doesn't break the pallet, their pathing is really long because they have to go all the way around this, right? So let's say I threw that and the killer was approaching me from over there and they decided not to break the pallet. They decided to run around the structure. Then I can run in here to a much safer pallet. Okay, let's say I loop this area, whatever. Maybe I decide to throw this, depending on how far we are in the looping phase. The killer's coming over there. I decide to run around. He breaks it. Guess what? I can go back out here and play this. If the killer decides not to break this pallet, okay, so let's say I had dropped this, the killer went around. Let's say I even pre-dropped this. Now, he's probably not even in the doorway yet because he has to path around that pallet. I could pre-drop that safely and run up here. Even if he decides to break it, that's fine. Like this pallet in here. Because my intention as a survivor will always be to go back to this pallet and utilize it, okay? Because what I'm doing is I'm creating a path that is shorter for me to run than it is the killer, right? So I can do this like all day, and guess what pathing the killer has to take, right? In this case, what he'd probably do is he'd run around the box in the forklift, and he'd have to run inside, then he'd have to make a decision on which way I'm going. Obviously, if I keep running this circle, he's going to cut me off. But guess what? If he cuts me off, and he's like, I'm not letting you run that anymore, I'm on this staircase right here. If I see him run that way, I have the rest of the map open to me. What it does is it forces the killer to kick these really crappy filler pallets that a normal killer wouldn't kick if I was sitting right here and he was on the other side of it. He would just run around, right? Especially because a lot of these filler pallets aren't even this strong. Like, that's a pretty decent filler pallet, right? This can be another perfect example. This is more in line what I was running the Wesker with in a clip, and it's the same idea. Now, I have two issues here. If I drop this pallet when the killer's close to me, like let's say I'm like, hey, I'm going to play this pallet. I'm going to threaten a stun or a drop. I'm going to let you come close. The minute I drop it, I'm stuck in an animation. I can't run anywhere for a split second. He can do one of two things. Most likely what he'll do is you'll see this double door open. He'll come around and push me this way. And all of a sudden, I don't really make distance. Especially with a Wesker, he can threaten to use his dash. I won't make distance. So I want to drop this pallet if he's way over there. Because then what I can do is I can hug this side because there's two doors here that he'll probably run through to cut me off. I can hug this side. I have vision of him. And what I can do is I can run around if he goes inside. I can go this way. I can go that way. And what I'm doing is I'm not just playing this pallet in like this little like half circle. What I'm doing is I'm playing this pallet in the two doorways. Now this filler pallet that I've pre-thrown makes this loop much more manageable. My check spots are a little bit easier. I can see him coming. I have a lot of distance. And if he closes the distance on me, I can play this pallet. This one's a lot safer to play, right? Same thing with this one. This pallet's sort of the same way. Throwing it early before the killer gets to you is just a smart play, because then you can utilize the stronger pallets on the inside because they're usually more threatening. So I'm going to try and sort of recreate what I did in my mind, if I'm remembering this correctly. The Wesker was about in that doorway. I didn't pre-drop this pallet that was here. I knew I had a lot of distance and I could come back to it. So what I did is I ran inside and I pre-dropped this pallet. And I ran around. I don't know if this one was here on the other side, but I ran around and I'm like, okay, if he breaks it, Chase is broken. He no longer builds Bloodlust. I can make distance while my teammates reset. So I pre-dropped that one. I ran around and I'm like, I look behind me. I'm like, okay, he didn't break that. He's coming over here. He's not charging his power, I don't think. So I pre-dropped this pallet because now what I have is a very large loop, right? I'm able to make this loop really short because I keep vaulting these two pallets. He recognized this very early on. So he ended up breaking this one, and he still left me. Because he broke it, I made distance. Bloodlust could not accrue because he lost Chase, and I made distance. His path that he would have had to take if he didn't break any of the pallets was like this. He would have had to run around this. He went inside. This was the same. He would have had to run around this. And he knew that if he kept doing that, the chase would take too long. So he decided to break this pallet and leave Chase. That is how you can and you should play a lot of these filler pallets. That's just the smart way to play them. If you can vault a pallet, you gain quite a bit of distance if the killer has to travel a fair bit around a tile. 9 out of 10, the killer will almost always insta-break. Yes, because a smart killer knows if I don't break this and the survivor keeps looping it, it's way too strong. Think about it almost like having two windows you can vault that never block. Yes, the killer can vault them, or, you know, in this case, go around the pallet, but it takes them a longer time. Let's use this one as an example. Those pallets, I feel like if they get left up, the killer almost always loses Chase as well. Oh, if they don't get kicked? Yeah, probably. Okay, so sit right here. Okay, sit right there. and then an I will nod, and just try and kill me without like act as though you're an M1 killer. And you can play this however you want. Check spot there, or around here. He's gaining distance on me. I go to this pallet. I maybe try and get the stun. Now I play the 50-50 of this wide pallet. He didn't double back and he's not breaking, so it's like, boom. Vault it. Boom. Cool. Yep. Obviously, he might be looping this in a way that he normally wouldn't. But, like, if I would have sat at that pallet and waited for him, he could have had two different decisions. I think what a good killer would do in that situation, if you saw somebody, like, camping this pallet, you would just assume that they're going to throw it. You'd notice that there's two holes in you know, like, two doorways, right? So what a good killer would probably do is they would do this right here. They would run here, showing their stain this way. If they hear you drop the pallet, they would probably double back and swing, expecting you to vault it because they see your stain on this side and they're panicking. Like, I'm always going to be a fan of pre-dropping these because it's just tough. Here, let's play this one. Like, play this one. I'll give you that one, and then you can do whatever. You can play it however you want. It's a little bit easier for me not to get hit because I can see him. But, like, he also builds Bloodlust. I'd probably have to drop it there. Nice. Good double back. He might swing here. No, get the stun. Now, I could run because I did get the stun. All right. If I go to another filler pallet, this is kind of the same. Not very strong. This is a pallet where you're almost always dead the second you throw it. I'll show you why. Now I got to play a 50-50. I got to win the 50. Oh. Vault. I'm dead. Anytime you throw these, you're just dead. You always want to keep this up. There's like, we already counted, there's like 23 to 25 pallets on this map. Most of them are fillers, right? Almost all the pallets outside of the rooms are filler pallets. And what you should be doing is using them in tandem with the pallets on the inside to create a bigger loop. Do not focus on this being your loop, okay? Focus on how you can maybe pre-drop a pallet when the killer's far away, and then utilize pallets on the inside, because what'll happen is, this is a little bit of an example, right? Okay, if I have that pallet pre-dropped, just look at this. Now, you're not going to get a whole lot of loops because the outside is short, but you could probably loop this once or twice if you pre-dropped it. A killer isn't going to want to kick it. They're going to be like, I'll catch up to them eventually. The outside track of this pallet is relatively short, but guess what? The minute they start catching up to you, then you play a stronger pallet. And if you happen to get the stun, bada bing, bada boom. Okay? So even though you might see people pre-dropping this stuff, and you're like, wow, they're pre-dropping pallets like far ahead of time, you got to think about the loop that they're creating. This is another example of like filler pallets that are actually on the inside that aren't, they're kind of just like unsafe pallets. But like I said, you can kind of combine some fillers with these as something to chain to. I don't know. That's just how I play Hawkins. People learned a long time ago when this map was first in the game that what a lot of these filler pallets, almost all of them, on the outside do is they act as a resource for you to use to make a bigger loop. All you're doing is creating a bigger loop. You're taking a room with a decent pallet, right, like this, and with a filler pallet used properly like that, instead of the loop being confined to this room, the loop is now all of this too. And every single pallet that you have in your loop is like a separate mind game. It's a separate spot for a killer to hesitate, to make mistakes, for you to capitalize on. Separate areas for you to fake. Pallets in their stairs showcase what you were explaining really well if the pallets are never broken. So like, for instance, this is a good example, right? Like if he's over there, like if he's in the room, and yeah, if he's like over there, and I see him come in, I'm like, holy shit, he's coming, right? Look at this. Look at how much time it takes him. Oh, I even ran into a wall like an idiot. Look at this. Like, I can make mistakes and run into walls totally on purpose. And he can't even keep up Chase. Chase is actually falling off. Now, his best bet would actually be to, like, do a weird, funky... Like, if he was going for a big brain play, what he could do is, when I'm over there and I commit over there, he could literally moonwalk like this the whole time while hiding his camera to maybe go for an M1. That would be... I would get shit on. I would probably uninstall. But, as you saw there, like, I don't know if you can tell audio-wise, but he's not even staying in Chase. Like right there, if I'm not careful. Yeah. Always look for the stain. See the stain? He's now in Chase. Chase fell off. Chase started again. Every single time that Chase breaks, he's losing bloodlust. And he's resetting his speed. See, like that. A prime example of, even though I wouldn't say this is necessarily a filler pallet, this is a pallet you can play by itself, and it's strong. But if you pre-drop it early, to where you're not stuck in a drop animation for the killer to go around, like, even if he's like right here, and I drop it early, and I continue running, there is a chance that eventually I break Chase, and he is forced to break one of these pallets. He has to. Let's see, Kage, can you break the one inside? Can you break the one inside? So no, this is just one pallet, right? Normally, if you run in a straight line for this long, the killer catches you, but look at this. Look at how silly this is. And like you're saying, well, yeah, of course, Sip. He's like, you know, he's an M1 killer, and you're running a shorter path. Yeah, that's why I pre-drop some of these outside corner pallets, because it allows me to start running that shorter path without the risk of the killer hitting me because they're too close. And guess what? I think in that clip that I had, I threw maybe 3 pallets in total. That is about, what, 8% of the pallets on the map? Okay, so what? I didn't even go down for it. But people will still say that I'm pre-dropping and holding W and, you know, wasting pallets. Like, a lot of people also don't understand. If against a Wesker, you're able to put yourself in a position where you can actually hold W and they're not able to catch you, that is huge. You're giving your team a chance to reset and actually come back. I don't actually, like, I just want you to chase me around some of those pallets. And I'm going to try and sort of, like, do it on the fly. Can't wait for people in the video to be like, well, he was playing a Bubba. He should have just broke it with his chainsaw. Okay, well, I was simulating a killer that doesn't break it with their chainsaw, but yeah. What did we get? So we actually got a decent setup here, right? Like, this is exactly the corner pallet I'm talking about. And then you can play that pallet, which, like, look at this, right? Like, these pallets almost always spawn. This pallet over here is usually on one side or the other. And then you have almost always a pallet, like I said, in every single room. And then a filler on the outside. And in this case, we got like 2 fillers. So he's on the inside, so I'm going to run early. I don't need to drop it yet. Okay, so maybe I'll play this one first. Because it's semi-safe. You might just hold W, which is fine. I got the stun, so I could leave. But what I'll do, even though this isn't like the smartest, I won't make this one. Okay. He's probably gonna shit on me. I have some distance, so here I think I could pre-drop and run. He's gonna break it, because he knows I'll make distance. Now I can drop that. I'm not gonna camp it. I don't care about that door. I don't believe he's gonna go that way. I could pre-drop this, right? Now, does he break it or not? That's the question. Go inside. And use the staircase. Does he vault it? He does. Got another filler out here. Pre-drop it. He goes around. That door isn't open. I die. No, it took him so long. Maybe he thought I was going to play it. Fake it. Oh. Oh, he messed up. He might be doing this for the video. But now look at this. I have this filler pallet. I could have just looped this room almost infinitely. That break was necessary. Okay, can make it inside. Now, obviously, I have windows, so this is a little bit easier, but... And now I die. I die for my greed. But you could probably see in just that little chase there, he recognized that there were 2 points in the chase where I had thrown an outside pallet before he even got close. And if I chose to loop the inside of the room adjoined to it and use that pallet outside, it was just going to take him too much time. He would lose time, so you might as well break it. Obviously, if you're going up against a killer like Nurse, somebody with a projectile, or in most cases like a Wesker, a Kaneki, somebody with like some sort of, you know, dash, it's a lot harder. Without breaking or setting traps, it'd be impossible to catch up. Yeah. No, quite literally. I mean, you saw it when I was running his Bubba around those rooms. Not even Bloodlust will trigger and accrue. Because what I am doing is I am setting up... Like, one of the things that I didn't mention either is by making my looping, my paths, my circles shorter, think about what I'm doing here, right? One other thing I didn't touch on. Where does he ever have line of sight of me? Only in the hallways. Only when he's right next to me in the rooms. You also have to understand that this map is wall to wall. Anytime the killer loses sight of you for like 3 seconds straight, Bloodlust is lost. So any amount of distance that I can put between me and the killer, he's never going to gain Bloodlust. He's never going to run faster. That's all I'm doing with these filler pallets. I'm using the filler pallets to put distance between me and him and to guarantee that if he doesn't break them because they're already down, the chase is going to go too long. He literally will not catch me unless I make a colossal mistake. There's just no way he can catch me. If a killer is running in circles and constantly losing chase, how are they going to catch a survivor? I know not everyone really needs the help or the advice, but I want to help as many people kind of like understand the thought process of, in my opinion, the smarter way to like loop and play certain tiles.